Part 6. Destroyers. Although armed trawlers, drifters, P-boats and sloops were drafted into patrol service, there was an acute shortage of good anti-submarine vessels. The best anti-submarine vessels were destroyers. Sims concluded that the Royal Navy simply did not have enough destroyers. Until 1914, their role was to protect the great surface vessels from attack. In April 1917, half of the Royal Navy's 200 destroyers had to protect the Grand Fleet. Many of the rest were relatively old. It was known that torpedo attacks would play a significant part in any great naval engagement, as indeed they had at the Battle of Jutland. A torpedo attack by British destroyers had forced the German battlecruisers to turn away. Later, when the two main fleets met, the Grand Fleet itself turned away to avoid torpedo attacks by German destroyers. The development of the self-propelled torpedo and the torpedo boat led to the destroyer. Originally it was a vessel equipped with guns to protect larger ships from attack by torpedo boats. Its original name was torpedo boat catcher or torpedo boat destroyer. Earlier in the war, 4 British destroyers sank 4 German torpedo boats off the Dutch coast. After this, the Germans limited their use of torpedo boats. On both sides, the destroyer took over the role of attacking with torpedoes from the weaker torpedo boat. According to Sims, the destroyer had proved its worth in driving the surface torpedo boat from the seas, so now it developed into a very dangerous foe to the torpedo boat that sailed beneath the waves. Events soon demonstrated that, in all open engagements between submarine and destroyer, the submarine stood very little chance. Sims continued, the destroyer's advantages were its speed and maneuverability. The submarine commander had to get his boat in place, calculate range, course and speed, and take careful aim, which is why it was much more effective against merchant and passenger ships rather than vessels such as the destroyer that could energetically defend themselves. Not only did the destroyer have speed and a much heavier armament on its side, but by the time Sims had reached London, another much more powerful weapon had been devised. This was the depth charge, a large can containing about 300 pounds of TNT, which, if it exploded anywhere within 100 feet of the submarine, would either destroy it entirely or so injure it that the victim usually had to come to the surface and surrender. At first, depth charges were dropped from rails at the stern of the ship. The ship had to be fast enough to get clear of the explosion.